Ken and Pete Johnson were raised on a farm in Banner County that was homesteaded by their grandfather. Their father died when Pete was a toddler and Ken was about 12. Ken graduated from Banner County High School in 1952, back when the high school was a boarding school for Banner County students. He lived in a dormitory during the week and went home to the farm on weekends. Ken attended Scottsbluff Junior College for 2 years, where he competed in football, basketball, and track. During the first semester of his junior year at the University of Nebraska, he applied and was accepted to the University of Nebraska College of Medicine. Following medical school, he completed an internship in California, where he met his future wife, Mary. They were married in Japan while Ken served in the Navy. 31 years after he was born at West Nebraska General Hospital, Dr. Kenneth Johnson joined its medical staff and the practice of his family physician, Dr. Jacob Krieg, who inspired him to become a physician.
Dr. Ken was one of the first doctors to introduce himself and welcome me to the doctor's lounge at Regional West when I got here. I used to tell people that Dr. Ken was my father. I always thought that'd make me look younger and smarter than I really was.
Dr. Ken Johnson, if I had to describe him in one word, the word is humble. He went about his practice as the most humble person I know. He was very knowledgeable, but he practiced very humbly, and I appreciate that about him.
Dr. Ken was always such a steady rock. He had a sense of humor, and he would always come out and ask everybody how their weekend was, and just checking on us like he was taking care of all of us, you know, making sure that we didn't have our names in the paper or anything, you know.
Milton Pete Johnson graduated from Garing High School in 1963. He liked science and athletics, and a cheerleader from Scottsbluff named Jan Doreen, who later became his wife. He attended the University of Nebraska, where he was a member of Farmhouse Fraternity and served as fraternity president during his senior year. Like his older brother, he attended medical school at the University of Nebraska Medical Center in Omaha. Pete and Jan returned to Scottsbluff following his service in the Air Force. He began his medical practice with his brother, Dr. Bob Barnwell, and Dr. Krieg at Bluffs Medical Clinic. Pete contributed significantly to the regional medical community, not only as a dedicated primary care physician, but also by serving as the director of Panhandle Community Services and associate director of UNMC's Rural Family Practice Residency Program. In 2003, Pete was honored as Nebraska's Physician of the Year by the Nebraska Medical Association. Both Pete and his older brother were dedicated caregivers.
They would participate in activities at the hospital. They would make rounds, and they would see patients all day long, and then they would go back to the hospital and they would go on rounds, and it would start over again.
As they grew up here, people knew them, they were confident in them, and they were definitely well trained and definitely experienced. I mean, they were staples of the community.
When I think of Dr. Pete, I think of his amazing patience. He is always careful with the words that he chooses and how he responds to situations. And he really taught me to have that patience and really assessing a situation before coming up with an opinion about it.
Great, helpful folks who were willing to take a wet behind the ears, just out of training physician who, I suppose like most physicians, thought they knew everything and kind of helped mentor and mold, and you know, very patiently, and they were just a great fit and great guys to work with.
Pete loved practicing medicine and taking care of his patients, but he was also willing to devote his spare time to ensuring quality healthcare services through CAPWIN, training young physicians to learn and enjoy family medicine, and serving as chief of staff.
When I was a medical student, I was, like I said, single and stayed out here for a month. And Dr. Pete, of course, had me over and, you know, asked me what we wanted to do. And I didn't, you know, it was a beautiful fall evening, and he was telling me about how he likes to ride bicycles. And I'm not a real big bicycle rider, but I have done a little bit, and he said that he had a tandem bike, and I'd never been on a tandem bike. And so without any hesitation, he goes out to his garage, and his tandem bike had been hanging up in the top of his garage, and he pulls it down, says, "We're gonna go for a ride." And he gets me a bike helmet and gets me on the back of his tandem bike, and we go all the way from his house, which is by the Methodist Church, and we go all the way to the monument. And we went down Avenue I, we went under the railroad tracks and up that hill, if anybody knows, and I was just holding on, and he was just carrying me. I was not helping very much.
He was very easygoing. He was attentive to you. Very easy to talk to and share things with.
Being at his house, I remember multiple times how he would take a phone call from a patient and make sure that their questions were answered even when he wasn't on the clock. He just was always so patient and loving and kind.
One story that would typify Dr. Pete is in the mid-90s, he was a medical staff secretary. Medical staff officers, he was a secretary. And we needed our bylaws updated. It was a big tome of medical staff bylaws for the Joint Commission to look at. And he volunteered to do that. He and a small committee went through those bylaws line by line, word by word, and brought that up to snuff. And he did that in Dr. Pete fashion. Never complained. He was meticulous, paid attention to all the small details, and he got the job done.
The Johnson brothers were both known for their quiet, unassuming demeanor, their commitment to providing quality care for their patients, and their kindness.
And they were both very respectful of their families. If they came with stories, it was fun things that they did or something comical things. And that was another thing that a lot of us visited about how kind they were when they talked about their families and how family-oriented and respectful they were.
Sometimes when we had a holiday, the doctors' wives would have us over for dinner, and they would cook wonderful meals for us, and we had our Christmas parties and celebrated it that way instead of going out somewhere. And that was a very personal touch that all of us appreciated.
Well, we were so happy for Bobby and for Dr. Ken because she was a very nice woman, and we enjoyed getting to know her. And Dr. Ken was happy. You could see his face relaxed. He was never in a grouchy mood that we picked up. Maybe he was, he just didn't, he internalized that more. But we just saw a difference in his lighter step and easier to laugh and just enjoyed life. And I'm glad that they had a chance to be together. His first wife, Mary, was ill. She had cancer, and even with having to deal with her illness and the issues with surrounding her care, he still came to work, and he still cared about patients that maybe didn't have as to deal with that kind of an issue. He still said that's important to them, and I will take care of that for them, for the patients.
Dr. Pete Johnson was a teacher and mentor and friend to 29 family medicine residents who spent 2 years at Regional West through UNMC's Family Practice Rural Training Track.
It was just kind of a real passion for him to bring people to the practice and bring people to the community.
He went out of his way to make sure that we were safe and felt comfortable. I can guarantee you, out of all those 29 residents, there wasn't one of us that haven't had multiple meals at his house.
He was very supportive of our family life, as well as getting us as much exposure to all of the different areas in the hospital, introducing us to all the specialists that we would work with, and providing us lots of different opportunities for growth and learning. The way he treated patients, the way he treated his colleagues were a constant encouragement to me for the type of doctor that I wanted to become.
The board and staff of Regional West Foundation and Regional West Health Services are pleased to honor Drs. Ken and the late Pete Johnson for the contributions they have made to our medical center and our community.
I'm just glad I got to know both of them and got to work with them. And I'm going to miss my friend.